it for the love, so now I'm doing what I want.
I did it for the love of the shit.
Doing it for the love, so now I'm doing what I want.
I did it for the love of the shit.
Hip hop and rap, yeah, that's where my heart's at. Doing it for the love.
Welcome in, everybody. This is Half Court Heat, but we got a special post-game reaction show. I'm your host, Tony Jigsaw Couture, joined as always by Al Griffin, Andre Johnson. We are the Half Court Heat Ratio Sports family. And man, I'll tell you what, boys, it's a Sunday night. It's late. It's about 11:10 on the East Coast, right? It's late. Finally, I'll tell you what, I'm pumped. I'm excited. This is going to be a little different Jigsaw tonight because I'm going to admit something. I am. I'm going to admit something. I'm sold. And I'm going to tell you this. This is why. Because I'm not going to get into the Tobias thing. I know we're going to get into all that, the Danny Green thing. But these are games that I was actually invested in and that I knew they had to win. This is a game they had to win. And they defended their way to a win. Listen, the Randall shot to go into overtime goes in off the bounce. But we get it back in the overtime, right? So it goes in and out, it comes out. But the thing is, I watched this team grow a little bit. And when you look at Tobias not being Tobias, but he came through in the end. And I think that's a big deal. That's something we need to look at because, right? You have to because you keep feeding your star, feeding them, and he came through. So I'm going to just start off with that. I'm feeling good tonight. I like it. I still think that we need a piece. We'll get into that later. But I'm more invested now than I was a week ago. So, Al, number one Sixer fan, Al, what are you feeling, man?
Go. As I tweeted at Heat Ratio Sports, I was very annoyed going into overtime. Very annoyed. There's no reason to go in overtime with this team. You got to finish that off and be done with them. You get ready to go on a huge, long West Coast trip. You don't have time to be messing with the Knicks in New York. Get your ass on the plane and get the hell out of there. Seriously, dude. I don't know what was going on. I'm just going to act like those two bricks. I mean bricks by Tobias in regulation was just a mirage. I didn't see that because he came back with a huge three in the corner and two big ones at the end. So I'm okay. We won the game. That's most important. Again, tweeting at the end, a win is a win is a win. That's all that matters.
That is true. Yeah. A win is a win, right, Andre?
Yeah, man. Let's get it. First of all, shout out to the Sixers, man. Like I love when our team win the games they're supposed to win, right? We were supposed to win that game. And I'm gonna go a little left a little bit because I don't even like giving other teams credit, but I gotta give just for the sportsman in me have to give the Knicks a little credit because they came out with an incredible defensive plan against Tobias. They were double teaming him, sending the guy from the weak side all the way across the court as soon as he touched the ball. And I was like, man, look, they are really like trapping Tobias every time he's in a corner. So they had a really good plan against them. Where they messed up is veteran Danny Green came to show up, man. Come on. Danny Green showed, look, he said, I'm the veteran out here. I'm out here with these guys, and I'm going to show them why I'm a vet. I'm going to show them why I have 3 rings. Act like you want to leave me alone. And you know what? He hit a 3 with the guy's hand literally in his face. The defender's hand was right here, about to smack him, and he still hit the 3. And to me, that's the game we're supposed to win. 2, the veteran had to show up and kind of get the team back in order. And 3, the all-star free throws at the end to ice the game, man. To ice the game. Now let's keep it real. Randall had a chance to win the game and he didn't. But it's the same old Knicks, okay? It's the same old Knicks. I get it. Randall's an all-star and all that. But that matchup is going to be incredible because Tobias already got a chip on his shoulder for not being selected to the All-Star game and having Randall in a very similar position in the All-Star game. And if you put their numbers up against each other. He's like, why would they pick him over me? So I'm glad he has that chip. But let's get the win. Like Al said, let's get on a plane. Let's go out west. Let's handle some business. I don't care about the injuries. Once again, of who we're going up against, we have to beat the team that's in front of us. Let's beat the team that's in front of us. And the Nets pulled out a win tonight. So we're just like gonna just keep let's hold our position and just keep plugging away and getting these W's. That's how I look at it, man. Here they come.
Yeah, you're right. Here they come, like the hashtag, right? Here they come. And Danny Green with a floater, by the way, a floater towards the end. We didn't even know that was in his repertoire, right? Matisse with a big three coming in at the end, and you mentioned how symbolic was it that at the end of the game it comes down to Randall being defended by Tobias, right? And he did a really good. Listen, you see Randall go, what else can I do? Like he did everything he could do, and you know what? 50-50 shot, right? He got the shot off. It goes in and out. But tremendous effort. Just little things in the game that I really liked. I liked, even I'm going to give Cork Mods a little bit of credit here in the second half for leaning into that foul because, I know it's only one play, but the offense looks so shaky and so dysfunctional tonight at certain times. And certain times as a veteran, even though Cork is really not a veteran, but that's a veteran play. Do what you can do to get to the line, right? And that's what he did, right? We've seen Ben doing it as well, even though he missed 2 free throws. But, the thing is, they're doing the right things. And obviously, I say this all the time, but I just love watching the sideline. Sam Cassell is one of the most animated coaches I have seen in the NBA. He is up consistently. I love it. I mean, just watch that energy, and they're feeding off that, Al. They really are.
Absolutely. I think he's good. You got to probably say about 3, maybe less, more years. He should be a head coach. He should have probably been a head coach already. He should have got a shot. If everybody else is getting shots and Minnesota took the guy off of Toronto's staff in the middle of the season and gave him a shot, then
come on, Van got a shot. Come on, it's a fraud. He should have a job. Man. It's an absolute fraud.
But Sam Cassell's got to get a shot here.
I agree.
He got to get a shot here.
Oh, yeah.
It's well overdue. He's like a Pat Ewing, but Pat Ewing finally got a shot in G-Town.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Our man Vinny checking in said, good win, but don't be fooled, guys. Still need a shooter and a backup forward. You know what, Vinny? As always, I'm with you. Completely agree. But I'm getting used to this team. Like JD he has said they got the Philly grit, right? I'm getting used to them into this game, just battling. This was a grinding win, right? A grinding win, under 100 points. Essentially. I mean, this is defensive basketball, which is playoff basketball. That's
bingo. I was just getting ready to say that. This is what we're going to have to do in the playoffs, except for having JoJo there. That's it. It's this grind type of game, but just missing JoJo.
No, you're absolutely right.
You're 100% right. But what I'm really loving is that we pulling out these wins without Joe, right? We got Ben back tonight, so obviously that was a big push. That was like a big boost for our team. But the fact that we getting these W's without JoJo is like huge right now, because positioning is going to be everything in that first 8. That first 8 out of the Eastern Conference is going to be all about positioning, because we have a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference. It's like almost has the football mentality to any given Sunday teams. We got the teams you don't want to play. Because I remember at the time the Sixers was a team that, oh man, nobody wants to see the Sixers, and because they didn't know who they were really facing. Like, no one knows who they're really facing in the Chicagos and the Indianas of the world. Like, they know that they can probably beat them, but look.
See what JD said.
Somebody always knows us off our game, man, all the time.
the bottom line is, man, we pulling these W's together, and we're looking really good as a team. But we looking like we have a lot of chemistry. We're looking like we're a team that's been playing together for a long time. This game was like upsetting to me in a sense, because it was real reminiscent of the Milwaukee game the other day when we were going through stretches. That Milwaukee game the other day, it was tied up 80-80 with a long stretch, maybe a 5-6 minute stretch with no one scoring. So that's what was like a little upsetting. And I was just watching that because there was a time in the game where Doc had this wild lineup. And in my head, I'm going, why is Ferkmans not in the game at this stretch of the game? And, I think I tweeted out, I said, you know what? He's going to give his starters heavy minutes at the end of the fourth. And he did exactly that. So I'm obviously I'm not the head coach of the Sixers, but I watched the patterns and I'm like, all right, I see Doc's coaching style. And I go, you know what? He must going to give the starters heavy minutes from the 7-minute point on in, because at that point, I think that's when Ben came in around that 7:46 mark. And I said, okay, we have to get these guys out of here, because if we don't, Randall and Burke is about to take over. And they sure enough did. And so the timing was more of a chess match with the two coaches. So, man, good win for the Sixers tonight. I don't care if it's the Knicks, whoever, but we needed this win tonight before we got playing.
Yep, I agree.
It was funny too. I was thinking about Burke in my pregame analysis earlier today, and I said, you got to keep an eye, because that dude can get hot, and all of a sudden, bang, 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 bang. I swear he probably had to have at least 12 points between the fourth quarter and overtime. Just hitting wide open threes, runners, layups, and he's that type of player that can just take over like that, and he did. Yeah. I was hoping Randall started shooting a lot more wilder than he did. That corner three, that bounce, I had no idea that was going to happen. Now, a couple of stats. I was thinking, I had to just look back. He scored 11 of 20 for 30 points and 4 for 6 from three-point line a couple of days ago when they played the Knicks last time. So that's why what's the name was like, nah, you ain't doing that to us this game. And that's why he did it. So now that's actually, I like this, because now Tobias he learned off of this game, and you see that. And if somebody else tries to do that while Embiid is out, because they're not going to do it while Embiid's there, while Embiid is out, then you can react better. We could work on it in practice with a little bit of practice we're going to have. And just do better next time. Shake with a big game with 21, which was good. 19 turnovers and 6 by Ben is not I'm not feeling that. A lot of careless passing. But the free throw percentage at the end, we got up to 60% because Tobias made those last two. 14 to 23 from the free throw line isn't going to get it done against anybody. That is inexcusable. And it wasn't a lot of Ben free throws. That's what makes it worse.
Well, that's the Joel Embiid impact too as well. Like Joel Embiid, for him to be 7'36" or whatever how tall he is, for him to be just a big man, and he is like incredible from the free throw line. So the other thing is when Joel's, this is like the Joel effect, right? If Joel's in the game and he's getting fouled left and right, he's at the free throw line, the other guys are relaxed. So if the other guys are relaxed, that takes pressure off them. So it's just in game situation, man. Sometimes you get up there, and if your star is continuously getting to the free throw line, and then when you get there, it's not like you've been beat up all game. Right. Now there's no excuse for an incredible free throw shooter in Tobias Harris to miss those 2 in a row after going for the last 16 for 16 for the last 16, obviously free throws, right? Yeah. So, but now he hit the 2. When he hit the 2 that matter is what separates the good from the great. He hit the 2 that matter, and to put us up 1. And to me,
that corner three was huge.
Well, the corner three, the corner three was humongous. Mm-hmm. We needed that at the time. I mean, the game was a tight game, but to grind out a game like this, old school, like mid to early 90s, old school, like
so funny, yeah.
Yeah, man, 2 Eastern Conference.
How about again in my pregame analysis about the last time the Knicks made the playoffs? That back in that era. That's how far the era goes back. The last time they made the playoffs. They're playing the same ball now with their defense, which they're actually playing excellent defense right now. They always made a huge Huge difference playing being a coach of the Knicks.
Major.
Without a doubt.
Yo, and here's the thing. Players are funny. Like, for instance, they know stats that no one either cares about, or stats that you'll never see on like box scores and stuff like that. Like, you don't think for a second Ben is like, yo, I'm 14-0 against these boys after tonight. Like, see, to me, I'm just a petty. I was always a petty player, so I would be like, yo, I would be looking at people like, yo, you never scored on me though. Like, I don't care what the record is, you never scored on me personally. So Ben, I don't care who you. I know Ben's like, I don't care who you guys beat. You haven't beat us.
That's true.
And that's all that mattered to me. So that's what makes the NBA and Eastern Conference so competitive, man. Because it's just a whole different vibe than the West Coast, right? It's just that's why that's why you got New York and Philly and Boston. Like, you got those teams. Like, it's like an ego trip sometimes. Players are funny, bro.
Yeah, they are. And let me go back for a second, because one of the things I want to bring up, and two things, Vinny, I'm going to get to you in a second because I do agree with you. But one thing about the Joel Embiid factor, like you said, Andre, with them being able to play this way right now with Joel is a big deal. And I think the reason why it's a big deal is because they're learning on the court. And indirectly, the injury, I hate to say this, could have been a blessing in disguise, that it's not serious. And it's something that's allowed this team to say, how do we funnel an offense that doesn't go through Joel Embiid with the pieces that we have? And that brings me to the concern, which it's always been a concern, and hopefully they get through this, because, again, I know, Vinny, you say Tony playoffs are a different game. Completely agree. I get it. Team's still a little short. Yes, 100% agree. Great win. 100% agree. But you also say anybody concerned about Ben's lack of scoring over the past few games, 14 to 16 point, Ben scares me. Now, this is what I want to say to you guys. This has been my point all year, and this is what scares me. Tonight, they took Tobias Harris out of the game. He was out of his element. Make Ben beat me, and Ben can't. So that's the only thing I get concerned about. Even though we're playing well, we don't have that another scorer. We don't have the guy to pick up when one of those two guys can't do it. And I think that's the biggest deal. And that's, I think, one of the main focus points that we have to do moving forward is how do we fill that void? Because there's nobody else on this team that can fill that void. It's got to come from somewhere else. And I just don't know if that's going to be possible, Andre.
Well, here's how I answer that question, right? So in this particular game, it unlike other games and unlike times where I'm just like livid, screaming at the TV about the bench, right? Well, let's just keep it real. Like, when Ben is scoring these 12 and 14 and 16 and I guess 15 points, if you really dive into it, is a lot of times when he's only scoring that many points. Like, for instance, let's take tonight's game, for instance. At the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, the bench was outscoring the Knicks, and the bench had 28 points 28 points contributed to the score, right? 28 points. So if you look at previous games where Ben is still doing a 12, 14, 15, the bench is like, production is through the roof. So I think it's more of a mental thing with Ben, where he goes, let me manage the game. And since I have to manage the game, now Doc is allowing the bench to manage their part of the game, and I don't have to exert so much energy. I'll just play my game, getting to the basket, and I don't have to score all the time. Especially especially when you got Tobias. Okay, so I think Vinny first of all, Vinny's point is 100% valid. 100% valid. I'm just saying, when Ben is scoring those 14, 15, 16 points, the bench is usually very, very productive. The nights that the bench isn't productive, then I can't give him a pass. But usually that's a night that Joel is going off. So it's almost like it's a balancing act. And I think that Doc is doing a really good job trying to figure it out. There are times during the game I'll be like, yo, what is this guy? Like, what are you doing? Like,
I think the same thing.
Why are they sitting? Why is the bench in there this long?
Right.
Why is this player sitting this long? And I can't figure it out. But that's how I would answer that question.
He's a coach. He know what he's doing, man. I was questioning every game. I'd be like, dude, you kept the bench on way too long. What are you doing? And then it works out. Like tonight, it was probably, like you said earlier, I think it went down to like 7:30 in the fourth. And I think because we were close in the score, he stretched it out as long as he could before he got Ben in there for the rest of the quarter. Which, how you won't complain about that? If we're in the game, why not try to stretch a couple of little extra minutes? If we was up 5, he might have brought him in at the 6-minute mark. If we was up 10, he would have said, there's no rush to getting back in when you got a lead or you're right around the scoring. If we would have got down and he didn't bring him back in, then he could have said, well, come on, man, what are you doing?
Yeah, but some things are just a feeling too.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, as a coach, some things is a feeling. I'll give you an example. Maxie, what did Maxie do? Oh, Maxie traveled, right? Maxie traveled, and Doc looks down at the bench. He looks down at the bench, and the camera goes right to Doc. Right after Maxie traveled, the Doc's like, all right, Ben, let's go. And then he went to a timeout. After the timeout, they didn't even show Maxie going to the bench. They didn't even show the substitution. The very next clip was Ben just in the game. So I said, and that was at the 7-minute mark, or about the 7:30, 7:40. So that's when he started incorporating. But it had to, like you said, some things are just a feeling, and it's a chain of events that was happening that led up to Maxie traveling.
Right.
So Al, right here, we got my man Mike checking in. We know this is a New York guy. It's all good. Well, and I will say this before we say anything. I do think it was kind of a weak call. Okay, I'm just going to throw it out there.
I want to know which call he's talking about. Which Mike?
He's talking about the call to Tobias. They give him the 2 free throws to ice the game. That was on Randall. That was on Randall.
That was that arm in his lower back.
Yeah.
He extended his arm. You see when he extended his arm.
Yeah, I know that's a play, man.
Yeah, it went in our favor. I'm not going.
Right. Listen, I'm not. But my thing is, I can't. You can't sit, Mike. You can't sit there and say the refs won the game for y'all to honestly. I mean, come on.
I wouldn't say that.
You can't go that far. We can't say that. But I will agree with you that I think it was a weak call. Right? It was.
Even if it was a weak call, they had way more chances to win that game than we did. So I wouldn't blame it on the refs on why you didn't win the game. That's a little, that's reaching a little bit, my man.
So Vinny says, can they win with Ben in a playoff series against the Nets or Bucks with Ben scoring less than 18 points per game?
Yes.
See, I don't know. I don't know because I don't know what the team's gonna look like then. If you're asking me right now, the way this team is assembled, I say no. I say no.
With Joel or without Joel?
Well, I'm saying with Joel.
He's saying everybody healthy.
With Joel. Everybody healthy right now. We're not adding another piece.
I disagree. I mean, I'm just going to I'm going to disagree because with everybody healthy, what have we been saying all year? No matter what the trades are, at this particular team, the way they're constructed, they are Eastern Conference Finals or bust.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I agree.
With the other, so that eliminates the Nets and the Bucks. Now, with the extra piece, their finals are bust. So we need the piece to get to the to win the finals. We need the piece to win the finals, but without the piece, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think we still win. Like I look at these. I look at those other teams. Nets, I'm concerned. Yes, 100 is a legitimate concern. Bucks, no. Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks to me are 100% frauds.
Me too.
Yes.
I agree.
I've been saying that for a while, and Giannis is beyond a fraud. The man, Ben just showed him exactly what he is when Ben was on him. He just totally shut him down. Real quick. Tobias shot. I didn't even know that shit, but Tobias shot 5 for 18. Still had 20 though. He still had 20, even though he shot 5 for 18. So I mean, you got to give him that. They still made sure he got his points, even though he shot horrible from the field.
Well, I think the point that Vinny is making, which I think we can all agree, at least I can agree with, is you struggled to get to 101 points tonight, right? I know you didn't have no Joel, but you struggled to get to 101. Now, that was forcing a lot, and that was in overtime. So, before overtime, what was the overtime? Was it did we get 93? Before we went in overtime? I got to look at exactly what the score was. I completely forget. But my whole point is, if you look at it, okay, from another viewpoint, if it took them that much of a struggle to get to 101, okay, which was most likely was probably about 93, with a healthy Joel, even if he's giving you 30, that's 120. But you're not going to get that 120 output because you're not going to get that 101 at 93 to 101 with Joel and Alana from the other players because you're going to funnel that offense through him. And if he gets shut down, they're not going to be able to pick it up. And when we're talking about Brooklyn, obviously, we might as well just say we're just talking about Brooklyn because to me, that's the only team that we're comparing ourselves to right now. I don't think there's any other team on our level, even at this point right now. There's no other team that concerns me in the Eastern Conference than the Nets. Do you guys agree?
100%.
It's not even close.
Listen, it doesn't matter. 1 through 8, 1 through 50. It doesn't matter. There's no other team in the Eastern Conference, period. There's no other team in the Eastern Conference, period. And half the teams in the West, if you want to just conclude the whole NBA, none of them are on the 6. Unfortunately, that's the way the league is right now. The league is a good 3-4 deep in the East and about maybe 5-6 in the West, and that's it.
Yeah.
Out of all the teams in the NBA. And that's what, but on the flip side, that's what we're dealing with. We got to keep in mind, we're dealing with this in the wildest time in the world. During a pandemic, you got quarantine, we got stuff. Did anybody realize that the whole game was ref with only 2 refs?
Yeah. They mentioned that. They mentioned that like midway, like a little bit after halftime.
Right, but so a lot of those calls, and to my man Michael's point, in a sense, I'm not totally agreeing with you, Mike, but I get what you're getting at. Because a lot of those calls, the refs was out of position to make the call to begin with.
Right.
So you like halfway down the court, they're blowing the whistle. It's like, whoa.
How about the call on Ben when the dude flipped over Ben? We threw it all the way down, scored the 2, and then he called foul. I'm like, huh?
Well, that's because he didn't. That was a perfect example of what I just talked about. The ref was out of position to make that call. Because first of all, the opposing player may initiate the contact to begin with to pull Ben down. Now I think Ben tried to kick him with his foot, but on the way on his flip back. But that's some Philly stuff right there. You gonna pull me down? I'm gonna just have to knock you with a big toe or something. But listen, man, we're in some wild times, and like I don't even know if the NBA even wanted that to even be known. They scratched her before the game, the ref before the game even started. Yeah. So we're like, we just gonna run with 2 refs. And when you're talking 94 feet, that's a workout for them refs. Yeah. It's a reason why it's 3 refs.
Yep.
It's a reason. So
absolutely.
It's not the first time I've seen that. I think I've seen that on a couple of TNT games or NBA TV games that they have only had 2 because the ref was out for COVID protocol. So it is what it is. It would have been nice to know before the game. They didn't even notice it. The other part is they're not in the actual stadiums. They're here in Philly. So it's harder to get a little information. They don't have any sideline reporting. It's they used to.
So Mike, I'm going to give you this, man. The Jetsons are taking over for now. But Mike, I'm going to give you this, man. One thing I will tell you, you're right. Absolutely. It was a great game. It was a gritty game. But I got to give you props to the Knicks, man, because like I said, that's a nice young team they got over there, man. Like, I love RJ Barrett. I love his game. Always have, always will. Randall, I think he's grimy, he's gritty. He does a lot. I'm not a big Noel fan. I think maybe in a backup role, maybe he could do well. But even quickly is a nice piece. Reggie Bullock plays that nice bench piece card, that 6th, 7th guy. But they do play well, and I'll tell you what. I don't know if we play them again before the end of the year.
I think that was the last game. I think that was the last game.
But listen, they make the playoffs right now. Yeah. They a playoff team. Yeah. And Tibbs, he's got them balling out there, man. He's got them believing. So Mike, thanks for checking in as always. And man, listen, don't be afraid to hit the subscription button right there, man. Absolutely. If you want, because we don't just talk Philly.
Right. Wherever it is on here.
Yeah.
Just hit it, bro.
Because this is normally Sunday night half court. We talk all NBA, but tonight, because it's post game, it's Sixers. That's where we're at now. But yeah, we appreciate you checking in. Jeremy checking in says Danny Green was stepping up tonight. Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, one thing, I know I've been hard on DG. I get it, but one thing, it's important because he is the guy that's going to need to hit those shots when we get to the other piece in the playoffs, right? When we're struggling, listen, he's not Robert Horry, he's not Big Shot Bob, but he has that kind of esque about him, right? He has that kind of role. We're going to look to him as the veteran to be able to hit shots when we need it. Now, Vinny says, who's your favorite in the West? Can Utah or the Clippers beat the Lakers? Listen, here's the thing, Vinny, and I'm going to go right to my partners in crime here, but what I will say is a month ago, I said they were in trouble with the AD injury, huge trouble. And now with the LeBron injury, there's no turning back to that, man. I don't know how long LeBron's going to be out. I don't know if AD even comes back. And if he does, how healthy he's going to be. That team's in trouble. I wouldn't even look at the Lakers at all, to be honest with you. I really wouldn't. I like Utah a lot. I think they have a lot of good pieces, but don't sleep on the Clippers, man. So I'm going to say, don't sleep on Kawhi and PG. Just throwing it out there. Don't sleep on it. What do you think, Andre?
No, I totally agree. I agree for like really weird reasons. Like one of the reasons that I agree is because they're looking at it like, look, without LeBron James. See, the Clippers, in my opinion, I thought the Clippers could still beat the Lakers without AD, but with LeBron. But without LeBron, the Clippers are sitting over there going, yo, our team is pretty sharp, right? Like we're not the other LA team. We are the Clippers. So without LeBron and without AD, the Clippers are the team to beat. Okay, now Utah, don't get me wrong, Utah plays better as a team. Their 5 is like old school Celtics. Like they play like a team. Yep. They play like a team. It is a little reminiscent of the Celtics, a little reminiscent of the old San Antonio teams. They play together, and that's what makes them so dangerous. And of course, you got Donovan Mitchell just doing whatever he feel like he wants to do on the court. But the fact that the Clippers with Kawhi and PG and your boy, I was about to say Schroeder. Jackson, but because to me, Schroeder and Jackson same player without the stuff in his hair. But Jackson, listen, they're a scary team, man, out the West. They're a scary team to play, and you don't want to play them with confidence when they go down. Now without LeBron and AD, I think the Clippers are the team to beat now. With LeBron and AD, it's the Lakers.
Now, Marban JD Texan says favorite is the Suns.
Bingo!
Al, what are you thinking about that?
Bingo! That's where I was going. I'm telling you, you better watch out for the Suns. They're playing excellent ball. You got the person running a point that needs to run a point, getting everybody in their right positions, and the playoffs is his time. He stays healthy, they're going to be a force. Denver lost again today. I don't know what they're like, up, down, up, down. I don't know what's going on in Denver, but Denver, I'm not scared of them. And Utah, before they won, I think it was either today or yesterday, they won a last second game. I think it was yesterday. I thought they were going to be going 5-6 in their last 11 games. So they're on the downward. I don't know what's going on. They're arguing a little bit. I'm looking at the Suns right now as the hot team. Clips. I was watching NBA TV. They haven't won back-to-back games in like 2 weeks. You can't win like that.
Yeah, and I think they're
win loss, 2 losses, win. I mean, I don't know what's going on. They're arguing too. Everybody's still complaining that they need a point guard. I don't know if they're going to get one because they can't afford one. I heard they have no money under the cap to do anything. So I don't know what's going to happen. But I think the Suns are in a great position right now, staying healthy, of course, to make a run.
Now we talked about the Suns. I was a big fan of the Suns, right? I know you guys were as well. We talked about them probably about a month ago. But the one thing, before you get a little ahead of yourself, brother, here's the thing: DeAndre Ayton is not that guy. Okay, he's not that guy. So yes, Booker, Paul, 100%. But I'm not sold on Ayton, man. And here's the thing: if you're going to go up against the Utah Jazz against Rudy Gobert, Ayton's got to play hard. All right. If you're going to go up against Denver, against Jokic, whether how inconsistent they are, guess what? Ayton's got to come correct. And he ain't coming correct. He is as inconsistent as the Denver Nuggets, like Al said. So that's the only drawback to me about Phoenix. That's why I really like Utah. But I don't know, Andre. Are you sold on DeAndre Ayton?
No, well, I never was. Utah, because I can't believe we went that long talking about him. But listen, here's because I gotta counter or agree with a few points that Al made. That Booker and Paul, when we know that they're incredible together. Where they have issues is when they come up against the teams, the bigger teams. So the league is not designed like that. We there's only about 5 to 7 teams that have a legit big man, right? That in the whole league. So the Phoenix Suns with Booker and Paul playing together, they're going through people because they're just that good. Like they're really just that good when they're playing teams around their size, but that lack their speed, lack their veteran savvy. And Paul Booker just scores like whenever he feels like it again, right? So when they're playing against those type of teams, they're incredible. They're prolific, right? But when you go up against big teams, when you go up against teams where they have to play, now we're talking regular season. It's going to change when they get into playoffs because everything gets turned up a notch. That's when I think they're going to have problems. They're fine now because everyone's kind of coasting and trying to, stack up wins and wins and wins for the playoffs to start to get into position. But when they get in the playoff and they hit these series, then we'll see the real teams come out. We'll see who are the Suns. I would pick Utah over Phoenix any day of the week. In any day of the week. And it's for one reason. It's not because of Paul and Booker. It's because at least Utah have a legitimate big man. They have a legitimate big man. I'm talking about as far as if they had to play back, if they had to play head to head, I think it's either going to be an easy 6-game series for Utah.
I agree.
5-6 game series for Utah.
I agree. And JD, I like Mikal Bridges. I do.
I like Mikal Bridges.
I don't think he's the X factor in that series. It's exactly I agree with Andre. And that's why I brought up Rudy Gobert, because I don't think Ayton can even hold his jock, man. So, until he can figure that out, it's to me that they're always going to be a notch below, man. They're just always going to be a notch below. What do you think, Al?
Hold on, Al. Let me say this real quick. I like Mikal Bridges. JD gonna make me call him while we're on the air, man. Listen, I like Bridges, right? I like Bridges. Listen, we're talking about 2 teams in the West that have an opportunity with the 2 big guys down at the Lakers. That we talk about 2 teams to just notch and like really get these W's going. Because you think about it, we just had this long conversation and none of us mentioned Portland. Okay,
that's true.
And it's true. Like that's how good the West is. Let's just be real. Like, so Let them battle and tear each other up in the playoffs, and we'll sit back and go, after you guys are all beat up, the Eastern teams are coming to play you guys. But that's why I'm not too concerned about getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. And what we still need a piece to get to the finals. And once we get to the finals, that's when it's going to be important for those guys to beat them. You know, they're all good. Like all those teams we talk about are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I
They're all
agree.
pretty good. So it's a little tough to gauge. I'm just partial to the big man. If you got a team that with a good legitimate big man and two guards, come on.
Oh, Vinny says Sixers with new additions versus Clippers final. Sixers in 6. Look at that.
I like it.
I'm still thinking about the Clips, dude. I can't trust them. That's the problem. I can't trust them. They have the horses to win, but PG stinks when he gets in the clutch. Like, can you count on PG if he got the ball in his hand to do something?
No.
Can you really count on him? If he has the ball at the top of the key and with 5 seconds left in his game 7 and they're down 2, can you count on him making that 3?
You can count on him more than 60% of the league, right? I mean, listen,
Well,
is
you put it like
one
that.
of my top 10 guys that to take this? No, but I mean, I'd rather him shooting than half the guys in the league at least, right?
The whole team has came up very, very, very small to me.
You're right.
And Utah wins like Golden State used to win, where they're going to kill you with the outside and you can't stop them anyway, so they're going to keep shooting. Well, they're not Golden State. So let's see when the screws get a little bit tighter in the playoffs, and they can still consistently shoot the way they do their style. They only have one style, and they're going to keep shooting those threes. All right, let's see if you can keep doing that in the playoffs, because it's a totally different horse when you get in the playoffs. So that's another thing. So, I mean, Phoenix doesn't have to kill you with just that, and they don't have anybody like Booker. Nobody. Utah has zero. Matter of fact, I'm going to say this right now. Utah or the Clippers don't have anybody like Booker. Now, how about that?
I like it. And I'm with Vinny, though. I'd still take PG on my team, right?
I would take him.
Well, here's the thing, though, Al.
Clutch
Thing about Booker. You got to be careful with Booker, too, because he's not as consistent as you think, right? So he's up and down as well. He either blows out or he comes back down to earth. He's not consistent. He's all right, 21, 22. But then he'll bang out for 35 or 40 to go back down to 20, 21, 1. So I don't think he's not like Dame, right? I mean, listen.
How many people are?
Right. No, that's right. He's on my mind because Andre said Portland, right? So I'm thinking like, all right, I got Dame time on the mind, right? Let's look at the Sixers.
You know what, Dre? I forgot about them. They could just come out and sweep. They could take everybody out. Seriously.
Well, they just got McCollum back, right?
Yeah.
And, right. So that's a big piece, right? Getting healthy, and he's playing. I mean, listen, the big man hurts them, man. Right? Nurkic, that injury killed them. I mean, that's because again, like Andre said, there's a big guy you don't have, right? You don't have that big guy. So, so a lot of different things in the West. But let's get back to the East. Let's look at the Sixers who play 4 games. Next 4 games, nighttime games, right? So I would tell everybody right now, we ain't doing no post-game shows for the next 4.
Because 1:30 in the morning.
You might get a different scene from Jigsaw at 1:30 in the morning. So let's hold off on that. But let's look at the next 3, right? So we go to Golden State. We go listen. And again, we don't know how healthy Steph is going to be. He's back and forth, so that's a good time for us to get a W. Then we go up against the Lakers, who we just talked about, which we have an issue, right? So, and then we go against the Clips. So I'm looking at I'm looking at 2-1 to be a really good West Coast trip out of those 3 games. Now, I know we go to Denver on Tuesday the 30th, but even if we split, I can't believe I'm saying this, but even if we split 2-2 without Joel going on the West Coast, and I would say maybe we're going to have a hard time with Jokic out there in Denver land, obviously, and maybe we have a hard time. The Golden State game could be tricky. I think it could be tricky because I think maybe Draymond could get in the head a little bit and he could D up some of them guys and some of those young guys like Jordan Poole. If he could step up for them, it could be interesting. But what do you guys think? I'm saying 2-2. Would you guys be happy with 2-2 on this 4-game West Coast swing?
No.
Okay, I like it.
Me either.
I'm not even like being objective about it because at all. I think if now for me to be satisfied, obviously we want them to go 4-0.
Oh,
but realistically, I think this is a 3-1 trip. This is a 3-1 trip. And you mentioned the game, Tony. You mentioned the game that could slip us up because if Golden State was coming here in the condition that they are in, if they're coming here, I'm calling this an easy W. Not easy, but I'm calling it a W, right? But in Golden State, and with that whole environment, with Draymond and the team. I mean, look, the Golden State Warriors is to me, without Clay and everything, is just not that good of a team, right? No. It's just not that good of a team. But with Draymond is a factor. He's a factor. And by the way, you see it. He's a Spartan too.
Yes, he is. MSU, absolutely.
But that's the only team that can get funny because of they actually play defense. No matter how all that offense that you see because it's highlights, they actually play defense. That's how they get out on these breaks. And Draymond is like the captain of the ship. He's the team motivator. He's the players coach on the floor. He's everything. He's their attitude. So when you look at somebody like that, and then you look at like our team, who is our Draymond, right? You got to see the other teams that you're talking about. They're depleted because they don't have the LeBron and the AD. Okay, when you talk about Denver may give us some problems, but I think we're just a better team than Denver. You know, that's how I'm kind of like gauging it and looking at it. Golden State is the only team with a legitimate chance to win. So I'm looking at 3-1.
Yeah, what do you think, Al?
I agree. I agree. If Steph doesn't play, like, stop it. We better not lose that game. LeBron 100% is not playing that game when we play them, so he won't be back. So that's 2 wins. I want a win out of Denver and who's the other team? Who am I missing?
And the Clippers.
And the Clippers. I want to win out of Denver. I want one of those. I want to win out of and come back 3-1. I want to hear anything. Nothing else is acceptable to me. You have no reason to lose to Golden State without Clay. You have no reason to lose the Lakers. I don't care if Steph is back or not. With no LeBron and no AD. Stop. We go there, we win those games, we figure out, I don't care. We scrap it like we did tonight. I don't care how we win. Just come out of there with W's, and then let's get one from the Clippers or Denver. Or I take all 4, but it's asking a lot. But I want 3-1 out of this road trip.
Yeah, I think the thing about Golden State, whether Steph plays or not, that really scares me is they have some tremendous perimeter players over there. And even without Steph, listen, Draymond Green is such an X factor in this game because he has these young kids playing, man, and he's given it confidence. Wiggins had a monster game the other night, right? Jordan Poole has been averaging over 20 per game over the last 2, right? Kelly Oubre, you never know what you're going to get from him. You're going to get a really good effort, but he is a decent guy down low, and he can do it all. So it's just when you look at this team, they scare me because it's like we come off this gritty win against the Knicks. We travel, right? Like Andre said, we're going into that whole Golden State environment, the whole new Oracle Arena, right? I forget, whatever the name is now. But, even if Steph doesn't play, I think that's the one game that scares me. And then I still listen, when you got to guard PG and you got to guard Kawhi, okay, say what you want, man, but there are two studs. So that's going to be a tough game, right? That's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, big time. And I look at this whole West Coast trip is going to be all about matchups. It's just going to be all about matchups. Because the way Golden State is, I think Golden State is kind of constructed without AD and LeBron. Golden State without Steph is constructed similar to the way the Lakers are without AD and LeBron. They got the outside perimeter shooters. They got a point guard they can shoot from deep. They got a point guard that can obviously run the offense. He's not a Rondo, but he still kind of runs the offense similar to Rondo. So the way they construct it, I just think that we have better players in certain positions that can get us the win. I'm not saying these are going to be blowouts, but I'm just saying we can get defensive stops, and that's when we're successful. When we have defensive stops that when we go up by 7 or 8 or 9, and the opposing team only has like 2 minutes to figure it out, right? Where we lose is when we get the bench involved, and then now the bench is blowing the lead a little bit. But I think Doc is obviously going to be motivated against LA, of course, right? You're gonna get Dwight Howard a little motivated against being back home in LA, right? So you're gonna have all these little sub stories that are be going on while we're out the West Coast. That's going to make it just much more must see TV. And I think the Lakers the Sixers with their poise is going to pull out the 3-1.
I forgot about that Cleveland game. That's a trap game after going all the way out west and coming back mid. That could be another problem right there. His little Speedy Gonzalez self running all around. What's his name?
Colin Sexton.
Yeah. After a long road trip, he could be a little problem.
Yeah, we can't go this whole show. We're 51 minutes in, but we cannot go this whole show without mentioning our boy Bradley. The way he's been playing. Listen, I like mentioning the guys that most people are not going to mention, right? But I got to mention Bradley because Doc has this guy playing. I'm sorry. I see some of the moves, the jump shots, the turnaround hooks, like the rebounding, the deflections, the block shots.
Hit bends.
This kid is balling out there. He's balling like he has nothing to lose. And that's what I like Bradley, man. You know what? I'm going to tweet Bradley. Man, hit him up. Like, yo, bro.
You know what? You make a good point because, listen, well, again, the role player is so huge in the NBA. Larry Brown made a name of himself as being a head coach to just get role players right around AI. We've seen it in this town. We've seen guys like Tony Bradley all the time. So listen, as much as I think he's half of a stiff, but at the same time, I mean, I'll just call it is what it is. But I'll give him some props.
You got to give him props.
I mean, I heard.
Yeah,
they dropped 30 since the beginning of the season.
What's that?
He dropped 30 pounds.
Who, Bradley?
30 pounds is huge. In game. Yeah, he dropped 30 pounds.
Damn, I need to call.
Well, I'm giving him props. I'm giving him props for two reasons. One, he started, 35. Dwight Howard's 35. And he's bullying everybody. He's bullying everybody. Did you know the other game he had no fouls? That was amazing to me.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. I was like, what?
What?
the last game he has no fouls.
Yeah.
You know, he's averaging 2-3 fouls, and a lot of them is either off the screen, moving screen, push off on a rebound. I mean, he's a bull in the China shop. But he's 35 years old and throwing around centers all over the league. It doesn't even matter who we're playing. He's just tossing them like rag dolls. This is the most active I've seen Dwight Howard. He's more active now than he was when they won the chip. Well, obviously, he was coming in as a role player. But the point is,
13 rebounds.
That's why I want to give Bradley props because who else do we have?
Yeah. And without JoJo, you can't even get rid of Bradley right now. Even if you wanted to throw him in a deal, you can't. You can't throw him in a deal right now. We don't have another center.
We don't, but Bradley is that guy when we go up against these trap games. That's the only reason why I brought him up, because you mentioned that trap game too.
Yeah.
When we go up against these teams like the Clevelands of the world, the Orlandos of the world, these other teams, Bradley shines.
Yeah.
So
He
Vinny says Randall just went off on the refs in the post game, which I can see that. I'm not going to kill no
He'll
play.
get a
But
hefty fine for that.
yeah, I know
$35,000 out of his pocket.
Oh yeah, and not hurting him. That's like 5 cents to me and you. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
ain't worried about that at all.
That's true. He wanted to get his point across.
But listen, that's the outlet, man. If they want to use it, let them. That's fine with me.
Yeah, and you about to not be able to tell him anything because he's an all-star now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
That head guy.
You ain't heard nothing. You heard nothing from Julius before he was an all-star, man.
Look at Vinny. Vinny says astute observation on Bradley, Andre. I like that. There you go. I like that. Love
Listen,
that.
At 12:03,
Check that
Vinny.
out. 12:03. Damn. What are we doing here, man? But
I want to make sure I say
we
something
do it
about
for the love, man. We do it.
yeah, exactly. Just like the intro song.
I want to make sure I get this out because I've been thinking about this the last couple of games. I don't. More rumors came out today about Kyle Lowry.
I seen that.
But I don't think it's happening. I don't think any big moves is happening. And I think we just got to try to trade some pieces that's not playing on the bench and some first or some seconds and make a trade like that and don't touch it and just roll with it. I don't think it's going to happen anyway. So whatever we can get that we won't move, don't touch it. Just let it roll. Whatever happens, happen. I don't think it's going to happen big anyway. Danny Green, come on, stop it, dude. I mean, everybody crushes this guy. And he had 11 huge points, 3 for 4 from three-point line, 5 steals, and 3 blocks tonight.
Yeah.
He's all when he's off, he's way off. But when he's on it, he helps, and he's just not doing those little things. I see every game he taps the ball when somebody beats him off the dribble, taps him from the back and gets a steal and causes and starts a break. He's doing the little things that you need to win a championship. So I don't think you can't touch him. Don't touch him. Let's find another way to get another piece in here, and let's just roll with it. What do you guys think?
Well, the problem is, listen. I don't disagree. He had a really good game, and like I said, he's an integral part of this team as a role player. The problem he's highlighted and crushed so much is because again he's playing a starter role, which I don't think he should be. Right? If he's not playing a starter role and he's coming in for 15 minutes and he gives you that stat line, nobody's even talking about Danny Green. Everybody's saying, "Oh man, thank God we have it." Right? I mean that's the problem. So indirectly, he's getting crushed because I don't think he's playing in the role he should be in. That's just my thought.
Well, I think you got to go in and temper your expectation for what you think he is. He's Danny Green. He's not. I don't know what people want him to be. So you already got to know he's going to have those real good games that he had the other night, that like 20 points and 5 threes. And then tonight he's going to have the 11. And then maybe next game he's only going to have like 5 points. And you're going to be like, well, what's going on? But in the next game, he's going to have another good game. It's just going to be what it is. But he's a veteran. He has leadership. He's going to do the small things that you need. He's going to dive on the floor. He's going to do all of those things that you need for a chip.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to. No, you're 100% correct. You just got to keep in mind that championship pedigree. You got to keep in mind, like when I remember earlier in the show, I was like, some players are just funny like that, right? Mm-hmm. And if you look at players like Danny Green, remember, obviously Big Shot Bob, and we're not calling them same, but they have championship pedigree, and it's not just their champion. They have this championship experience. They've seen a lot. They've seen when you're a part of a championship team, that journey to win the chip, you learn so much. Whether you're sitting on the bench and just observing the starters, whether you have a role and you go in at certain points of the game to either for a spark or to slow down the opposing team's offense, but Danny Green he can fit all those roles. Yes. So when his role is changed from game to game to game to game, he's he's a little off a little bit. Like tonight's a perfect example. He didn't even score
Right.
until like I think the second half of the game.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if you look at his production and the things that he did right from the gate, when they came out and the Sixers was balling and the Knicks had to call timeout, they were like, man, we down by 11 like that.
Yeah.
But look at Danny Green, deflection. Danny Green telling people where to be. Hey, you're in the wrong spot. Go over on that side. Like, so he's on the court directing traffic and doing all the things that we don't see. And so when he's not scoring, we're like, yo, this dude hasn't scored. Because to me, it came to a surprise almost. It was like, oh, Danny Green hit his first shot of the night. I was like, what? It's the first quarter.
Yeah.
You're a starter.
Right.
And that's some, and I get some of the people that's checking in and all that. I get it when they say, are we in trouble with Ben only scoring 14, 15 points a game? Man, listen, yes and no. And I thought I'll never say yes and no. I'm a decisive person. It's either you're in trouble or you're not, right? So it's yes, we're in trouble because obviously the playoffs, you want to step it up. And if you're supposed to be the number 2 guy, you're supposed to do what you need to do, right? No is if you're productive in other areas, and who cares if you have 11, 10, and 10 and say, oh, he had a triple-double tonight. But if we don't get the W, none of that matters.
100%. 100%.
He had a triple-double in the game that we lost.
Right. And nobody even mentioned it, but it wasn't supposed to. And he's not going to have too many of 8 of 17 nights either. He doesn't shoot that bad. So that's another thing. He shot 17 shots and he only made 8 of them tonight. That's not his normal thing. He's closer to that 50%, 60% range where he's going to make those, not 7, not 8 of 17. So that's another factor. And he still had 16 points.
Yeah. So let's end on this. Vinny checking in says, fellas, would you trade Maxey, Scott, and a first for Lonzo Ball? Before we answer that, shout out LaMelo Ball, fractured wrist, out absolutely sucks. Was playing his ass off this year.
What do you think? What do you think, fellas? You still think he can get the Rookie of the Year, even though he's going to miss that? He's missing a lot of games being out. I don't know. I don't know now.
I don't know, man.
I don't even know who's behind him. The kid in Minnesota.
Anthony Edwards. I mean, Edwards is playing well, but I don't think anybody has made the impact as a rookie like Melo has. So
bad for him, man. He was playing excellent.
It stinks, man. It stinks. But we get the Lonzo here. And would you trade Maxey, Scott first for Lonzo? That's an interesting one.
You know what? That is very interesting.
Because, Lonzo's a young guy. So it's not like, right? You're not talking about, right? So Scott's a throw in. The first doesn't matter because
you know what?
20s. So it's basically Maxey. Do you want Maxey or do you want Lonzo?
I would do it. I would do it.
So I think I would too.
I would do it. I would do it because he's going to give you a veteran point guard, which you need. That he's going to make some good passes. He's shooting very good this year, considering what he used to shoot. And he can drive, take people up the 100%. If New Orleans calls us with that deal and be like, give us that 100%, let's do it now. Let's go. 100%.
I'm in.
Good deal, Vinny. Woo, good deal. I like coming with
Vinny's got that trade machine working tonight, baby. I like it.
I like it too, because I'm gonna tell you something. I would do that deal. I wouldn't even blink with that. I would do it in a heartbeat because first of all, like you said, he will be the scorer. He's a scorer. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, he's an incredible passer.
Mm-hmm.
So that would give your boy Ben would kind of be like back in his element, driving to the basket. Like, you can imagine Ben getting a pass from Lonzo heading to the basket with a dunk. Like, come on, man. Like, we don't really have anyone passing it to Ben unless it's a broken play or a fast break.
Right.
Imagine coming up the court and somebody no look pass to Ben, because Ben. Listen, I don't care what nobody say. Ben does almost the same workout regimen as LeBron on the off season. They both work out in that gym. Shout out to Chris Brinkley. This dude is an incredible NBA trainer. Like they all work out in that gym. I believe it's in New York. But
38. Shooting 38% from the 3-point line this year and 14 points and about 6 assists. And I see, and to your point, Andre, I see where somebody else is bringing up the ball and Ben gets a low post position real quick and he can't get the ball because that person doesn't know how to get him the ball so fast. If you had another ball handler like that, you can do those type of things because Alonzo would get him the rock immediately. Even Dwight Howard gets great position sometimes, and Ben maybe not see him or somebody else doesn't see him. So, oh my God, another ball handler like that? Oh, it will be beautiful for the playoffs.
I think we need to start that hashtag. Go all in on Alonzo.
All in
on Alonzo. Let's go. Do the deal. Do the deal.
And then if it happens, give Vinny the credit.
Yeah. We're gonna send Vinny's tweet and right to the front office, man. Yo, Maury, get this guy a job.
Well, Daryl Morey. This is just a message to Daryl Morey. Daryl, if you have a trade pending, I'm tired. Do the trade. Whatever you have at this point.
What is it, Thursday, right?
Or let us know you have nothing. I mean, one or the other, because we're going to talk about this extra piece to the last minute of the last day of the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Just come on, Daryl Morey. You know what? I'm going to make sure I'm going to take this segment out for you, Daryl. Come on. We need you to come through. Let us know.
Right? Thursday.
Here they come.
Thursday, yeah.
Here they come.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And on that note, we're going to get out of here, man. Hour and 6 minutes. 12:15 on a Sunday morning, right? Live. I love it, right? I love it. I'm watching Sixers Outsiders right now on the screen. Got Crystal Rich with a shirt that says blessed and busy. Blessed and busy, right? I like that. I like that. Blessed and busy, which we all are. We are definitely goddamn busy. That's for damn sure. And we are 100% blessed. And before we get out of here, just so everybody knows, and there's going to be more details of that coming, but get in with us right now to knock on right? I mean, look listen, man. I mean, how can you look? I get the emblem off the Mr. Lenardi right here, but
look at that
technology guy. We had Sister Jean, and this is again. I keep saying this. I'm excited about this because if you read up on the National Bobblehead Hall of Fame in the museum, these are blue collar guys that started this, and this is legitimate handcrafted memorabilia, man. I'm excited, as we all are. So we're going to give away 2 of every limited edition, individually numbered bobbleheads as they come out. The 2 you're looking at right now do not even ship until April 25th. So that is a whole month that we have to run contests to get your name in the hat. So what we are going to do for anybody listening and watch this on replay, we're going to have keywords that are going to be in every episode all week that you're going to have to listen to. Okay. And if you get those keywords to form the sentence, guess what? You get entered into the contest. And you will, if your name gets picked out, obviously, you're going to have to follow Heat Ratio Sports. You're going to have to follow National Bobblehead Hall of Fame. And then you're going to have to subscribe as well so you can keep it locked in here for all the details. But really fun stuff coming on. And we got some more stuff in the works to be announced later this week as well. So we're getting there. We're getting there. We appreciate everybody's support as always. So, for Tony Jigsaw Consillo, for the man, number one Phil, and I got to give a shout out. My man Al, check him out. He's been dropping knowledge on the Facebook page every week. Got his nice emblem, right? Made by the Oracle, man, right? I love it. He got it in the 6th
JD.
Oh, I love it. I love it. The little cartoon. But again, check it out, man. He does a lot of work on that. So we're going to try to figure out a way to copy and paste that and throw it on Instagram and Twitter as well, because unfortunately Twitter only gives you 200 characters or whatever the hell it is. But they got to work on that. Twitter's got to get a goddamn edit button, man. For real. That's right. How many times I've been deleting tweets because I misspelled something, got deleted, and redo it all over again, man. It's unbelievable. As always, like we say here, everybody stay safe and stay healthy. Keep it locked in. Subscribe. Me, Al, Andre, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great night.